We've got some significant news causing quite a stir in the electric car industry. General Motors is on the verge of bankruptcy, and CEO Barra is to blame. Barra's push for electric cars has been a huge mistake, and it's now too late to fix it. But what is it all about? In this video, we'll break down what's going on and why it matters. The future of the legendary American carmaker hangs in the balance, and we've got the inside scoop on what it all means. So stick around till the end, and don't forget to subscribe. It seems like GM is in a tough spot, and their CEO, Barra, has made quite a blunder, causing many headaches. They've been going all in on electric cars, leaving their trusty old combustion engines in the dust. GM, the biggest car maker in the US, has even sold electric cars at a loss. You heard it right. They're making these fancy electric vehicles that hardly anyone's buying, while their regular gas-powered cars are feeling neglected. Barra's reasoning behind this puzzling move is what's got everyone scratching their heads. But it gets worse. We're talking about issues like low-quality production, factories shutting down because people aren't clamoring for their electric cars, and a massive $3 billion employee strike. Now they're pulling the plug on their bestseller, the EV Bolt. According to Bloomberg, GM's electric vehicle division is swimming in red ink, and their gas-powered cars are footing the bill for these losses. So why is GM pushing electric cars so hard? And what dark truth did Barra reveal about electric vehicles and their impact on the middle class? GM's got itself in a jam because Barra has admitted that they can't make any profit on electric cars right now, let alone lower the prices of their luxury EVs. Instead of aiming for the $30,000 to $50,000 price range, they're churning out these pricey EVs that cost more than $60,000. That's not exactly in the budget for the average Joe. And while they're aiming to sell a whopping 1 million electric cars by 2025, this year they'd only managed to sell about 44,000 of them, and they're selling them at a loss. But GM is trying to tighten their belts. They got these new Ultium batteries that's supposed to be a lot cheaper than what's in their current Chevy Bolt. These new batteries could be around 40% cheaper, which is great, but we don't have a clear timeline for when they'll hit the market. Barra hopes battery costs will drop to about $87 per kilowatt hour by 2025. Still, she admits that electric cars might not become as affordable as their gas-guzzling counterparts until later in the decade. It puts GM in a really tight spot, especially because the bulk of new car sales globally fall in that $30,000 to $40,000 price range. They've been bleeding money on their electric vehicle program, promising it'll be a gold mine by 2025. But right now, they're selling electric cars at a loss, and quality control has taken a backseat while they scramble to dominate the electric car market. They've had to issue recalls left and right, like one for brake fluid leaks that could lead to fires in more than 40,000 Chevrolet Silverado trucks. That's not just a PR nightmare. It could also cost them a pretty penny in repairs. Remember, back in 2008, GM lost a staggering $31 billion. That's $85 million down the drain every single day. While they've bounced back since then, these challenges could send them into financial trouble. But wait, there's more. Tesla and Ford have teamed up, giving Ford access to Tesla's supercharging network. This partnership could give both companies a leg up in the electric vehicle game and leave GM behind. Other car makers are also racing ahead in the electric vehicle race, making it tough for GM to maintain any first-mover advantage they might have. GM had grand plans with their Ultium platform and a bunch of assembly plants for electric cars, including Factory Zero in Detroit. But Factory Zero was closed for a whole month last year, and GM only managed to deliver 86 Cadillac Lyriq and 72 Hummer EVs in the last quarter, even though they had over 880,000 orders for these babies. What's going on over there? Adding to GM's headaches, the United Auto Workers UAW, a union representing nearly 150,000 workers, has declared war on GM. They've gone on strike at 3 Midwest plants, demanding a 40% pay raise, a shorter work week, and the elimination of a multi-tiered wage system. Why 40%? Well, it turns out that the CEOs of GM, Ford, and Stellantis have seen their own pay rise by that much in just 4 years. In 2022, Mary Barra, the CEO of GM, took home a whopping $29 million, marking a 34% increase since 2019. Meanwhile, the average worker on GM's assembly line struggles to make ends meet. An analysis by the Anderson Economic Group predicts that if all auto workers were to strike, it could cost the company $5 billion in 10 days. Yes, that's billions with a capital B. It's a stark contrast. The Detroit Three, GM, Ford, and Stellantis are raking in massive profits thanks to consumer demand for expensive trucks and SUVs, while the workers are in a tough spot. GM alone reported a net profit of $10 billion in 2022, which raises a simple question. Why can't they share the wealth? Seth Harris, a senior fellow at the Burn Center for Social Change, puts it bluntly. There's no question that the automakers can afford to share fairly with their workers. But here's the twist. Ford CEO Jim Farley suggests that meeting the UAW's terms might push the company into bankruptcy. That's quite a statement, especially after GM posted $10 billion in net profits. It's not just tone deaf, it's a slap in the face to hardworking Americans. Surprisingly, a recent survey revealed that nearly 75% of Americans support the workers' stand. Even President Biden, who touts himself as a pro-labor president, has urged these companies to share profits with their workers. The UAW isn't standing alone. They have the American people and the White House on their side. But let's not forget the real victims here, the middle-class workers who form the backbone of these companies. They're feeling the squeeze. UAW President Shan Fein has called the reports of planned layoffs of non-striking workers an attempt by the automakers to pressure union members into accepting a weaker settlement. Fein asserts that their plan won't work, and they're willing to go far to win economic and social justice for the workers. So, what happens if this strike drags on? Consumers could soon face vehicle shortages, further driving up the high prices. It's happening at a time when car buyers are already shelling out more for financing. GM's actions appear to be ripping off the middle class, and this isn't the first time they've found themselves in hot water. Flashback to 2019, when a UAW strike cost GM a jaw-dropping $3.08 to $4 billion for the year. Between 2017 and 2022, the share of new auto sales priced above $60,000 tripled from around 8% to 25%. The average price for a new car reached over $49,000 at the end of 2022, compared to just $33,000 3 years earlier. The money is there. It's not making it down to the workers. So what was the GM's response? They've offered what they call an unprecedented economic package, including historic wage increases totaling 20%. But let's be clear, a 20% wage increase pales compared to the 40% pay raise that CEO Mary Barra has enjoyed. On top of this, GM dares to claim they have a lot of work to do to make up for losses from the 2019 strike. They may not be in this mess if they had treated their workers fairly. Mary Barra has seen a 34% increase in her salary over the last 4 years, with her total compensation reaching nearly $30 million. She justifies this by stating that 92% of her compensation is performance-based, tied to the company's stock performance. This clever trick not only inflates her earnings, but also benefits from a lower tax rate than a regular salary. The company has also engaged in stock buybacks, artificially inflating stock prices, which directly benefits Barra's performance-based pay, but does little for the average worker. Now it's time to pay attention to Mary Barra and all the other CEOs out there enjoying hefty paychecks. The middle class has had enough, and it's time to share the pie before it all crumbles. If GM thinks they have problems, just wait until their workforce turns against them. That's not just a problem, that's a disaster in the making, one that could bring down the entire company. So there you have it. GM's in quite the pickle. They're grappling with financial losses on electric cars, quality control issues, and labor disputes. While they're hoping for brighter days with cheaper batteries and more electric car sales, it's clear that they've got some major hurdles to overcome, with stiff competition and internal struggles standing in their way. Whose side are you on in this battle of the middle class versus automotive giants? Please share your thoughts in the comments below. And while you're at it, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon to show your support.